Fog, thick and white, choked the cobblestone streets. Gaslights sputtered, casting an anemic yellow glow that barely pierced the gloom. Shadows danced and twisted, mimicking the forms of fleeing men and lurking predators. The air, heavy with the dampness of the Thames, carried the metallic tang of blood, a scent as old as London itself. The city, ancient and vast, held its breath, waiting. London, a city of secrets, whispered tales of terror. Each brick, every darkened alleyway bore witness to centuries of joy and sorrow, of life and death. But some stains, some horrors, refused to fade. They lingered, like ghosts trapped in the mortar, forever staining the city's soul. The year was 2024, yet the past refused to die. 1888. The Autumn of Terror. 5 women brutalized, butchered. Their lives cut short in the most horrific way imaginable. Jack the Ripper, a name whispered in fear, a specter that haunted the East End. He was never caught. His identity, a mystery that continues to captivate and horrify. Mary Jane Kelly, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, Marianne Nichols. Their names etched in stone and in the collective memory of London. Their stories, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of civilization. The Ripper's victims, forever frozen in time, their final moments a macabre tableau of blood and despair. The Ripper's crimes were not mere acts of violence. They were surgical, precise, a grotesque parody of human anatomy. He was not driven by passion but by a cold, calculating madness. He was a student of death, a dissector of souls, and now, it seemed, he had returned to his macabre classroom. The first victim was found in an alleyway just off Whitechapel Road. A young woman, her throat slashed, her body mutilated. The wounds, the precision, the savagery, it was a chilling echo of the past. Panic gripped the city. The Ripper's shadow stretched across time, casting a pall over modern London. The police, desperate to contain the rising fear, insisted it was a copycat killer. A sick individual, obsessed with the Ripper's legend, seeking to recreate the horrors of the past. But those who saw the body, who witnessed the handiwork firsthand, knew the truth. This was no mere imitation. This was the master himself. The fog, it seemed, held the Ripper's essence. It clung to the streets, seeping into the pores of the city, carrying with it the stench of fear and the spectral presence of the killer. The city, once again, became his hunting ground. He was the unseen observer, the predator lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. A second victim, then a third. The pattern was undeniable. The city, paralyzed by fear, retreated indoors as darkness fell. The streets, once teeming with life, became deserted, haunted by the memory of the Ripper's touch. He moved through the fog like a phantom, unseen, unstoppable. The police, overwhelmed and outmatched, grasped at straws. They chased down every lead, every whisper, every shadow that seemed even remotely suspicious. But the Ripper was always one step ahead. He was a phantom, a creature of the night, existing only in the fleeting moments of his gruesome acts. The media, fueled by the public's insatiable hunger for information, sensationalized every detail. The Ripper became a morbid celebrity, his legend growing with each passing night. He was the bogeyman, the monster under the bed, the embodiment of society's deepest, darkest fears. The killings continued, each more gruesome than the last. The city, once vibrant and alive, became a haunted shell of its former self. The fog, once a romantic shroud, now felt like a suffocating blanket of dread. It clung to everything, carrying the Ripper's scent, his essence, his menace. A team of paranormal investigators, drawn by the inexplicable nature of the crimes, arrived in London. They spoke of a malevolent entity, a spirit tethered to the city, feeding off its fear. They believed the Ripper's spirit had become intertwined with the fabric of London, forever bound to the fog that cloaked its streets. Their theories, dismissed by the authorities as fanciful nonsense, resonated with a terrified public. People began to see the Ripper everywhere, in every shadow, in every wisp of fog. He was the monster in the closet, the unseen terror lurking just beyond the reach of the gaslight. The murders abruptly stopped. Just as suddenly as they began, the killing ceased. The Ripper, the Phantom of Whitechapel, vanished once again into the fog, leaving behind a city scarred and traumatized. Life slowly, hesitantly returned to the streets, but the fear remained. The Ripper's legacy lived on, not just in the history books and the true crime documentaries, but in the very air of London. He was a ghost story whispered in hushed tones, a cautionary tale told to frighten children. He was the monster that never truly died. The fog still rolled in from the Thames, blanketing the city in its cold embrace. And in the hearts of Londoners, a question lingered. Had the Ripper truly gone? Or was he simply waiting, lurking in the shadows, biding his time until the fog once again became his accomplice? The answer, like the fog itself, remained elusive, shrouded in fear and uncertainty. Jack the Ripper, the specter of Whitechapel, would forever haunt the streets of London, a chilling reminder that some horrors never truly die.